gentlemen, welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm Nick McDaniel. He's Myron Fancher. How the heck are you, buddy?
I am good. I'm full of wrestling vigor today. How about you?
I'm good, man. Well, I hope you got a lot of it because, listen, we're getting ready to record. There's a lot of indie stuff to cover for promotions this coming up weekend. So I hope you're all fired up.
Doctors of Ahorian this morning, or however you say that. I couldn't read the prescription. You ready to go?
Absolutely, man. And look, if you are ready to go, I'll tell you where you need to go first, and that is tappedoutpod.com. That is our channel right there on YouTube. It'll take you straight to it, tappedoutpod.com. But of course, we also tell you, it's my personal favorite. I know a lot of people love YouTube. I like watching on YouTube, but patreon.com/tappedoutpod. It's really making some updates. I don't know if you saw them over the last few days, Myron, that are coming. It allows you to post a lot easier and a lot,
nice.
Stuff, like more images per post, so that makes it easier on the show notes. Even that list we're putting out that for Phil Stamper. Look, Phil Stamper creates that upcoming indie list, and that is kind of where I get it from. So I credit him every week on that list. I hope to. If I miss it, my bad. But most of the time I know I get it. But it just makes it easier. So I have to put the link when I do the YouTube to the Patreon page because it won't let me post something that long on YouTube. So kind of really heavy leaning to the and it's some changes they're making to their podcasts that you can kick it out to podcasts through Patreon. Big fan of the process. So make sure you're supporting the show. Patreon.com/tappedoutpod. But if you're a diehard YouTuber, I get it. Tappedoutpod.com makes it really, really easy. As well. It's just you're not going to get everything. So, and look, I had some conversations. I was going to ask you on the air to get your reactions without telling you off air.
Oh,
I think we're going to restructure it a little bit because we're going to try to encourage everybody to follow us everywhere. We're talking about, hey, what's the potential of exclusive content on X, exclusive content on Facebook, exclusive content on Instagram, exclusive content on YouTube. So, trying to make people kind of like, hey, why don't you follow us everywhere? Patreon will be the only place that I put everything.
Hold on, let me do this again. Okay. Let me make sure I heard it right. I've cleaned my ear out twice. Exclusive content on different social media.
We're thinking about it. Yeah, we're kicking that idea around.
So you may hear what your take was on Gary Lamb on Facebook, but you might hear your take on Bryce Cannon on Twitter.
Maybe something like that. Like we've contemplated it. We'll see.
Are you talking about pieces of a pie? Am I going to have to go over here to get this puzzle piece?
No. We're talking about like some of the, look, if you were a member on YouTube or Patreon, we do some 10, 15, 20 minute, little things that are on the Patreon. Maybe releasing like a 15-minute thing on Twitter. I don't listen. I'll be blunt with you. I don't know that I'll ever release exclusive to Facebook. I just don't. I use it for a bunch of other avenues. I think where we were leaning is maybe X gets like exclusive content. Patreon will have everything. Patreon.com/tappedpod will have everything. You could get everything you want there. And then on YouTube, kind of having primary like the shows and a lot of the other stuff as well. If you're a member, you'll get everything. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's just something we're kicking around and we're looking at. So look, maybe some more changes. We're always looking to get better. That's our thing. Tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Let us know if you have any thoughts and ideas or anything like that you would like to see. We'll be more than happy to, oblige and kind of take those into under advisement, as I'd like to say.
Okay.
But look, before we get into the indie stuff, because there is, like I said, a lot to cover. Look, we've been following this Bloodline storyline for a long, long time, Myron. Years at this point. Crazy as that sounds. It looks like we finally have gone full circle and we've gotten what we've said we've wanted for, quite a while now. Sami Zayn is back into the fold with the OG Bloodline. What'd you think?
Well, I mean, I was okay with this. The Sammy's okay to have back in the Bloodline. I think it's a good thing. It was a good moment. You liked it, didn't you?
I loved it. I didn't like it. I loved it. I mean, dude, I've been saying for a few weeks, maybe even months or so now, that's who's, it had to be him to be the last member. Let's pause. We're going to kind of try not to spoiler feel like a lot of what happened, but I got a vibe for you. It's probably going to happen in our conversation. What happened on the Raw taping that they just completed on Monday. I don't up to that moment on television, let's pretend we don't know anything beyond what happened on Raw of this week. I'm extremely happy with everything up to that point. Sammy had to be guy for it. First of all, I originally, honestly, I was hoping and I thought it was going to be 4-on-4. Well, clearly they're going for 5-on-5, which, by the way, was the old war game. So it makes sense if they're going true old school war games. However, look, it's not often, it's not often, but we're about to go into some of the spoiler parts. If you have not read anything about the Raw that's coming next week, etc. By the way, we wanted to preface and agree or disagree here, Myron. We joked that there's backstage segments cut that maybe contradict what we saw in the ring, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I'd hope so. It's not 4 1/2 dozen. The other one, they didn't need 5. They had 4 very good storyline centric people. If they pull in the other 2, it's like, okay.
Okay, hold on. Pause. If you don't like spoilers, skip a couple minutes ahead.
Let's pull it together. Okay, let's skip. Because Myron is going to say things without saying things. You got a storyline that you've been using mainly to get somebody over that I don't know if you're ever going to get over. So we're going to take a guy who makes sense to put on one side, and we're going to take this guy we can't get over and put him with the new Bloodline. I don't get it. I don't like it. I'm not saying you should have got somebody right off the island of Samoa and put them into Solo's faction, but and I think the kid that they just hired was, I mean, he's straight off the Indies, right?
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing, man. You could have used him. Like anybody, even if you're like, if you sign somebody, you're like, hey, he's going to end up in NXT. You still could have. And I get people are like, well, once you're on that main roster, it's hard to go down. Why? Sell it like he's going down to take over NXT.
But I think he's still booked at WrestleCade to sign.
He's got to fulfill his duties, maybe. And by the way, that's assuming he's going to be there. But he probably will be. All that being said, we had all right, here's the part again where we're at. You probably want to keep skipping ahead if you haven't at this point.
Skip.
Everything that we've read is it looks like it's going to be Seth Rollins on Roman's team and Bronson Reed on Solo's team. I feel it like it's forced. Like we're forcing these two into this match. Can you make it make sense? Absolutely. But to me, let me ask you this. Is this the first chink in the armor you've seen in the Bloodline storyline? The first time that you saw something that just kind of made you scratch your head a little bit and go like, why? Because my alternative is this. Bring in one of the other family members. Are they going to be on Solo's side? And if you had to, at a stretch, Cody's the guy to be the fifth person, not Seth. Like, I understand about the history with Seth and Roman, but Cody's the guy because I just think he fits. Because guess what? He's got issues with Solo as well.
Yeah. What's Cody doing? Is this going to be doing this pay-per-view? Is this going to be one of those pay-per-views that he's got the week off?
Could be. It could be a show that he's not on, and then maybe that was it. Maybe he was the original plan, and he's not going to be there. Now, agree or disagree? This is very much a let's wait and see. Let's see how this plays out.
Trust in Paul.
Here's the thing. I could still think it's a bad decision. We could still get to the match. They're both involved and still enjoy the match. I'm just going to need further explanation, and I need to see it play out a little more. I think that's the issue.
Yeah, we're taking word secondhand, not on television, people saw in an arena without backstage stuff, and taking that, and then we're also taking what people saw of a women's brawl for the women's, War Games match. So
Well, that's the
maybe,
assumption they have one. We don't even know if they're so
yeah.
yeah,
And so this is the weekend after Thanksgiving, right?
it's Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay, yeah, we can. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
How I say things sometimes is backwards. Thanksgiving weekend, we're going to be enjoying ourselves. Everyone's going to be enjoying the weekend, and you're going to get a great pay-per-view with a traditional theme here. So we don't know it all yet. We've got a
We'll see.
couple more shows. We're going to get a little bit more information. I'm going to say be patient and trust Paul. So,
Well, hey, it could be the first chink in the armor. Let's see. Time will tell.
maybe.
Also, big news. It was over the past week. I know you're not thrilled about it, but I'm going to sell you on it, by the way.
Well, see, this
So,
is when I heard this news, I was really thankful that Saturday morning I got up and had a seizure and slept most of the day. So I did not have to see this.
well, this wasn't. This was the prior Saturday. This was Georgia Florida weekend. We didn't address it last week, but I wanted to address it this week because the more this is picking up steam, I think the more I've had to think about it, the more positive I think it is for the parties involved. That's just my opinion. Goldberg essentially is on SEC Nation, strolls out. Tebow's got the the Florida belt. Goldberg's got the Georgia belt. Blah blah blah. But then they go, it just slips out. Here's the funny part: people are saying, "Oh, it slipped out of Goldberg's mouth." He said, "Hey, well, I'm having my retirement match next year." There's a clip video played of the confrontation with him and Gunther, and he kind of made some reference to some remark of essentially saying, "And if you're seeing this, you can kind of figure out who it'll be with." And I'm like, okay, so that means we're getting Goldberg versus Gunther. Tell me why you don't like it, for one.
Because it's not Tebow. Had he jackhammered Tebow right there, I would have bought him a belt myself, okay, and mailed it to him. I actually know how to take it to him and shook his hand for jackhammering Tebow. Ugh. And it's got nothing to do with the fact he was a Florida player. But I don't want him to wrestle Gunther because Gunther is great. And Gunther is a brilliant wrestler and a technical wrestler. And Bret Hart. I rest my case.
Well, first of all, I think this match happens at WrestleMania. It makes the most sense. Let's start there. Will they give it away before that? They could. Like, I don't know that they're, but I can tell you a million reasons why. As much as it, to your dismay, Goldberg still has a massive following. Like, there's the people that look back on the nostalgia fans. Because can I tell you something? I'm gonna blow your mind. Goldberg, possibly. I'm not saying exactly because it's a lot of names to go through. Goldberg is the last person from that era who can still look like he's in the shape, the physical capacity to get into the ring and actually wrestle. Because it wasn't that long ago he did the Brock matches and they were fine. Because I'm talking about serviceable. Because look, Austin can't do it. Shawn Michaels can't do it. Taker can't do it. I mean, like, start going through that era of names. Most of those guys can't go anymore.
Goldberg never went. Okay, he never had.
Okay, I'm going to push back. I'm going to ask you this. This is a fact. At one point, Goldberg was the absolute biggest superstar in WCW when they were beating that part of that 83 weeks period. How was he?
But you can't compare his
Myron is Myron Fancher using work rate as an argument on a wrestler?
I just did.
I thought it was about drawing money.
Where's the button to turn my camera off and leave? I quit.
I mean,
Okay.
it's true.
No, you're right. You're right. I use work weight. Okay, you're right. This is just put him in AEW now and have him fucking jumping off ring
Okay.
rope. Put his head in a bowl of cereal. I don't know. Okay, yes. I was going to say that while Goldberg can't do it anymore, Goldberg, you say Goldberg can do it and Taker can't. There's a reason. Taker actually did a lot more than Goldberg ever did. Okay. Austin did a lot more than Goldberg ever, both in the ring and longevity wise.
But when Bill Goldberg walked through that crowd at SEC Nation, he got Goldberg chants.
But that was a Georgia crowd and Florida crowd. It was a part
of Georgia, Florida. It was, yes, but it's a nostalgia. There's old time wrestling fans that are still craving nostalgia. By the way, here's the thing. He's still selling shirts for WWE. He's still, whatever. The argument was he was promised a retirement match he never got. It seems like a move Triple H would fulfill, right? If Triple H heard it and thought it's going to happen, it should have happened, he's going to make it happen. Why do I like Gunther? Because let's be honest with you. It's a retirement match, but Goldberg's losing. Gunther's going to have the ability to say he put the nail in the coffin of the career of Goldberg when he walks out of Mania. Maybe. I'm assuming he's going to win. Triple H would probably do the right thing and have that happen. Look, contrary to what I know you believe, I think that still matters. It is a huge. He will be able to brag for a long, long time that he basically he retired Bill Goldberg. And Goldberg's name, especially in nostalgia circles, still is a thing. As far as wrestlers go, I don't like him. I don't think he's by no means he's a great wrestler. I'm not saying that. But he drew money. He sold a lot of merch. And he drew ratings for a period of time. And by the way, his WWE returns did pretty well too.
Okay. If that's what, yes, but watch his foot. Gunther. Just watch his foot.
Maybe Gunther's tougher than Brett. Can take that kick to the head. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, that might have been that was a little unnecessary, but I'm just
that was unnecessary, and I've heard things in worse taste, and I've said things in worse taste, but that might be the worst one on the show. But the worst tasteful thing I have heard of, and the stupidest thing, worse than getting a match with Goldberg, is betting on sports entertainment. Pete Rose never would have bet. Shohei Ohtani.
Actually, he would. No, Pete Rose would have bet on it. He would have said he was going to take a tombstone from Kane at WrestleMania because he would have known the inside and he would have bet on it. But that's OP.
If he knew the odds, he would have. Okay.
Yeah.
Good point. Why? Why is this even a thing?
Okay. And I know you feel that way. We talked about this a little bit before we hit the old record button. My argument was this. I actually have bet on WWE before. Like you could on DraftKings, they were doing these little sweepstakes you could enter. But it wasn't like the straight odds like we do now on Prize Picks or Dabble or Parlay Play, any of those as far as prop betting goes. It was basically like, hey, who's going to win? You would pick, and you would win like prizes and not necessarily like the cash. It was like, whatever. I was prayed the day never came that it became like a regular thing because, how do you protect scripts from getting out and, because if somebody leaks out the things, everybody goes wham and slams betting on one side. And it's just anything scripted is just a really difficult bit. It's a difficult thing to bet on.
But see, this the thing is, we would be, oh God, I can't even say this because it's, how do you say Jimmy the guy from the Mediterranean from when we were kids? We would be the next, I don't even know who's a bookie or an advisor on television these days, but I would trust us more than about anybody else, because over WrestleMania weekend, I took our picks from our pick show and turned them into this internet.
You won a prize. You won a prize.
I won some naked pictures because I entered a contest to see
won
who
a prize.
could
Was good. We could have
to see who could get the most. It was a contest. Submit your WrestleMania picks, and I submitted ours, and it was the most accurate of all picks in the contest after WrestleMania. And I used it to win a prize. So I would trust us when it came to this kind of stuff. But there's no business in predicting professional wrestling results. There'd be bookie houses all over the place and people listening to fat guys in basements.
Well, I just think like they there was a statement about, like you got to protect scripts or, whatever you want to call them, scripts, etc., booking sheets, because once it gets out there, everything's just ruined. I mean, it just is what it is. And I didn't think this would ever happen. I think sponsorships with DraftKings and doing some of those fun things, that's something that's easily like you can pull off. Like, hey, if whoever draw, they could win tickets to a show or blah 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 or whatever. That's not even out of the realm of possibility. But I think you start monitoring accounts, that win, that you kind of like, hey, this guy's always winning. Let's find out, does this guy know somebody who works for us?
Any real money bet on something like this on professional wrestling is a bad idea. This is basically promotion type stuff. Here, have a hat.
Yeah.
Here, win a contest at a like a tailgate promotion. Mm-hmm. This is a party game. It's not a money game. I love it. I love wrestling, but you can't put your money on it. Take your money and go buy independent wrestling tickets with it. You want to invest in wrestling? You want to take a chance on something? Take a chance on independent wrestling talent. Take a chance on finding a great show out there among the people. And how do you do that, Nick?
We make the drives.
Exactly.
That's right, man. It is time for Making the Drives on this week's episode, brought to you by jmartinandcompany.com. For all your window cleaning, pressure washing needs, hey, they'll do your driveway, they'll do your house, all the above. And that's their specialty, man. Look, there's nobody else we trust our homes with other than jmartinandcompany.com. They've done my driveway, they've done my house, they've done my gutters, they've done my in-laws. It's awesome. jmartinandcompany.com.
They did your in-law.
In-laws house, yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. Okay.
Let's start with Thursday. Phoenix Wrestling Experience is running the Savannah River Brewing Company at 6:30 p.m. is the bell time in Augusta, Georgia. Look, those guys have got a lot of stuff. Look, we talked a little bit about it on the Tapped In show yesterday. They announced the big announcement. They are going to be running that baseball park down there in Augusta. That show's running in February. Give them a follow on social media as they make all the announcements. I actually literally this morning, as we're recording, we found out somebody who's going to be on the show. It's not my place to make that announcement. It is theirs. But like this Thursday, though, Cody Fluffman defends his SRBC championship. That's the Savannah River Brewing Company, if you're wondering, against Shug D. Dude, is the Fluff Man on a roll or what?
You know what? The Fluff Man gets probably the best positive responses of anyone in the area right now. I hate to limit him to Georgia because he works a lot of different places, but Fluffman, however you want to say it, is getting pops. And when you're getting pops everywhere you go, and you're getting pops the first time people see you, you're doing something right. So
look, the guy's an entertainer. The guy can wrestle. He can do all the above. And Shug D is a great measuring stick to see how he is as champion. Speaking of champions there in Phoenix Wrestling Experience, Wade Adams is your PWE champion. Got a little full of himself, and he has asked for a coronation of kinds, So it's a Canadian Christmas Championship coronation. I knew I was going to have to read that because it was so wordy, but yes, that is what he's asked for. My question, Myron, what the heck does that even mean?
I'm not Canadian. I'm from Alabama. So someone will have to send us a like some kind of like cliff notes on that if they still do cliff
Yeah.
notes.
Well, I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll get all those results. We'll have those for you next week on the Tapped In Indie Show. Also, 3 Dope, which is Florida Man and Dre, will wrestle Amish Country in a tag team tournament match. And Rob Killjoy debuts there. Look, so if you're new to that area, you have not experienced, no pun intended, Rob Killjoy, check out them
Yeah.
this Thursday at Savannah River Brewing Company. He's an amazing talent.
Anytime you see Rob Killjoy on a card, you know he's going to be entertaining. I don't know what it says about the rest of the card, but I'd go ahead and see it.
Absolutely. So check them again out. Savannah River Brewing Company, Augusta, Georgia. Bell time is 6:30. Phoenix Wrestling Experience. Jump to Friday, McDonough, Georgia, at the Henry County Moose Lodge. Bell time is 7 p.m. Our friends from Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling hit the road and head to the south side. Look, you're going to have fun. Like somebody always asks me, like, hey, sell me on Turnbuckle. It's real simple, guys. I've said it over and over and over again. It's family friendly. It's a fun show. And it's very easy to like just jump right into. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be lost. You're not going to be like, wait, what? I don't know what's going on. It's a great show. Plus, by the way, on any given show, Jonathan Gresham, QT Marshall, Brady Booker, Parker Lee, the Warden, Robin, the Renegade. By the way, Robin Renegade, Charlotte, Robin Renegade's sister, returned at the Buford show, Angelica Risk, and many, many more. Again, and by the way, you never know who's going to show up at a Turnbuckle show.
Oh, no. Hey, you know what? This thing that shocked me about Charlotte at that show, and a couple of people came up to me and said, hey, that's her first match back. And I'm like, no. She was sharp. I thought she'd been back, and from that absence she'd been at, I thought she'd been back a while, because judging on the, not news, but judging on the quality of the wrestling she did, I thought she'd been back working for a while. She was tight. She wrestled a kid, that Reagan girl, who looks to have a lot of potential. I would, if you were watching developing young talent in Georgia, her future looks to be pretty good. But she worked with somebody who was younger, and she was crisp, and Charlotte did a phenomenal job. I was very, very impressed.
Yeah, and if you want to look into Reagan, you're talking about Reagan Teal. She actually will be on one of the This or That's episodes. We recorded one with her. So in the next, we recorded like 8. So there's like, for the next couple of months, we're going to be going through a lot of those. I even contemplated just putting some up, on YouTube and or behind the paywall, like as just extras, so that we get them out there. But again, Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, McDonough, Georgia, at the Henry County Moose Lodge there. Again, bell time is 7 p.m. On the opposite ends, it feels like, of the state, go all the way up to Royston, Georgia, the Royston Dome, right there. SCA every Friday, bell time 8 o'clock, like clockwork. Couple big things going on. Look, it's always a great show. There's all these parties involved. Like Hunter James is getting his, he's meddling and everything. But the big stories are John the Body Johnson and Jonathan Feltner. They're clashing heads. They're literally now having a vote by the fans. We discussed it yesterday, so check out the Tapped In Indie Show about the details, or follow them on social media. You can actually see how you vote. Who do you want to be in charge, Jonathan Feltner or John the Body Johnson? What's your take on all that craziness?
This is just good versus evil. This is just a battle of good versus evil. Jonathan Feltner, who has steered the ship through so much and have led them to where they are now, versus JJ. And I didn't even think most of the fans up there could vote. I hope they're not looking for, especially after that presidential election we've had in this country, you'd think people would be tired of elections, but now we've got this to decide. Wow. And does Christian Taylor, does he keep sending you messages about his axe and his flannel shirts and stuff? No, bring him a toboggan.
Dude, hey, look like $1 million. He looks like a lumberjack. Somebody asked me that the other day. I'm like, well, he's built like a lumberjack, so why would I not think he was he says he's a lumberjack.
But I don't know anything about. I used to help my dad carry firewood, but I don't know how to jack lumber.
I mean, you got to go out there and you got to just, chop wood every day. That's what he's doing. And so again, SCA,
I saw him the other day and I said, Christian Taylor. He goes, no, I'm a lumberjack. It's scary. But where do we see him again? Sorry to interrupt you.
SCA, Royston, this Friday and every Friday, it feels like. Again, follow them on social media because the holidays are coming up, so there probably is going to be some tweaking. I know they're running Black Friday, but look, I don't know about Christmas, don't know what December. Give them a follow, and that will head us straight into Saturday.
Tweaking
BullPen Pro Wrestling, Delta, Alabama. Now, again, this is a 7:30 bell time Central. Make sure you know that if you're listening to us in Georgia, you're going to think it's 8:30 our time. It's an hour difference. It's at the Delta Community Center, and man, they went all out for this show.
Oh yeah,
over there in Alabama. Friend of the show, Brady Booker's on there, wrestling the Super Destroyer. That alone, that's your headliner, dude. That's your main event.
That's worth the price of admission. That right there.
No doubt. Absolutely agree with you. Then you got Zach Buchanan. Look, this kid he's got the rocket ship tied to his back. Yeah. Look, there's a designation he may have on his back sooner than later. So keep your eye out on this kid. Go see him while you can. He will be taking on Kamikaze. Sean Nelson versus Damon, the Showtime Thomas. AJ Black versus JT Paradox, and Xavier Cross is going to make his debut there. So again, if you haven't experienced BullPen, I know that look right there on that Alabama, that West Georgia, Alabama border's kind of their stomping grounds. Make that little short trip over, especially if you're in that Billerica, Temple, like their usual areas that they run in. Just, Bowden right there in that area, shoot across and check them out.
Good great talent, good shows.
Look, Bull and them got another show coming up really soon that we'll be talking about sooner than later. So absolutely check them out. Give them a follow because they're running multiple shows. Lots of these. Why do we encourage you so much to follow these promotions on social media? More and more promotions are starting to run more than one a month.
Popping up everywhere. More than one shows. SCA, 4 shows a month most months. Southern Fried's been hitting 2 shows. Pop-up shows are happening. Charity shows are happening. You're going to see shows popping up over the holidays for kids. Yeah. Benefit shows.
And the difference is it's different venues is the key. It's not like running multiple in the same venue. You got to know where they are because you might show up at the venue and be like, I thought they were running tonight. They are like
turnbuckle.
Couples.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
They're almost touring. If they have turned Georgia and other parts of the Southeast into territories, how wild is that?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But then, man, look, before we're going to get into, hey, Nick, where you're on Saturday and you haven't mentioned your show of the week. Well, that's because we're there now. This week's show of the week is our friends at Premier All-Star Wrestling. They are in Buchanan, Georgia. Buchanan. I've heard it a million ways from Sunday. But they will be right there at the Callaway Livestock Pavilion, Buchanan, Georgia. Bell time 7 p.m. Look, we're contemplating making this trip this week. That's why it's our show of the week. If we can get the logistics worked out, because none other than our friend, what great friend of the show, Terry the Rocker Lawler, is going to be down there facing Lamar Phillips. I'm sorry, totally wrong match. I completely botched that up. Lamar Phillips is in an open fight challenge, but Stevie Ray Frost with the Reverend Donald Jakes, he's defending his title against Terry the Rocker Lawler. Is Terry the Rocker Lawler in his encore presentation? Does he got the juice in him still for one more title to put with that other one that he's carrying around that Georgia championship?
I wouldn't put anything out of the realm of possibility when it comes to Terry Rocker Lawler. He is by far my favorite professional wrestler in Georgia, if not the world. Our greatest favorite. I think he's a fan, but I love that guy. I can't want to see any more. But I'm so torn because Donald Jakes is my favorite religious figure in Georgia wrestling. After Gary's gone now. So Donald Jakes gets promoted. And Dr. Brock is retired. Gary's quit. So I guess the only one left is Donald Jakes.
Well, look, your other guy's going to be there. Xander Seabolt. It looks like Xander Seabolt, Grappler 1 and 2. They're going to take on the Hierarchy, which is Kenway, Murder 1, and Joe Black.
I want to see that.
6 man. Yeah, see, that's a great reason to make the trip down there. And then, of course, last but not least, Alexander Lev. He is going to defend his title against Frankie Valentine there, for defending that West Georgia Championship. So lots of talent that we know and love.
Yeah,
and,
that's a
it
great
might be a
card.
great opportunity. Yeah. So, do you want to make picks on these, or do I don't have to guess on half of them? I can kind of you're going to go with your guys on all of them. So
yeah, I'm going to go with my guys on all of these. Sorry. Terry, Grapplers, Lev.
The only one I'm going to swing on, I'm going to go Hierarchy over Grapplers. That'd be the only one that I'd swing different on. So that's going to be the tiebreaker on the show. Whoever gets that one right. So again, Premier All-Star Wrestling, Buchanan, Georgia, bell time 7 p.m., right there at the Callaway Livestock Pavilion. That is our show of the week this week here on the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. Again, still on Saturday's a busy day. It's going to be a long. So Renegade Championship Wrestling, Chatsworth, Georgia, bell time 8 o'clock at the Tabernacle there in Chatsworth. Look, got a 6-man main event where the winner is going to be crowned the RCW heavyweight champion. Jeremy Prater's defending his title versus Jake Murphy and Logan Adams. That is the Renegade Championship Wrestling No Limits title. And it's kind of a unique. They have the U-Pick event. They do it annually, where the fans kind of get to draw out. They get to pick, so they kind of have the control, kind of the old Taboo Tuesday kind of thing, or whatever it was called at the time, kind of thing. But the fans get to pick. It should be a blast. Tyler and that team up there continue to rock and roll on the 1st and 3rd of every month. So check them out. Renegade Championship Wrestling in Chatsworth, Georgia. Bell time at 8 o'clock. There was a small chance this might be the other way we lean. SWA is running a benefit show in Eastanollee, Georgia. Bell time is 7 p.m. It's a benefit show for Jay Leach, who was a referee, who's fan that we've come across at multiple shows. And stuff like
I've seen
that.
him everywhere.
So look, so if you're in that area looking for a good cause, benefit show there in Eastanollee. It's going to have on the card, look, no matches announced or anything that I saw, but Tower, Dexter, Luke Da Silva, Alex Keitel, bunch of other names that that are staples up in that region, especially at SWA. They will be there, and so check them out again. Eastanollee, Georgia, SWA, bell time 7 o'clock. This one's a new one. Look, we're not going to hide it. Like I did. This came out of nowhere. I had not seen it. It's Old School Wrestling presents LegendsFest 5. It's in Thomaston, Georgia, not Thompson, Thomaston, Georgia. The bell's 7 o'clock for the show. Main event is Big Steel and Truck 30 versus Barbarian and Haku. That is right. The Faces of Fear will be making an appearance in a main event, and so I mean, there's your draw, right? There's your draw, right? You would think. Not so fast, my friend. Sticky Dice, Mr. Hughes, Tommy Rich, Chick Donovan, Stunt Marshall, and a whole bunch more. Myron, this sounds like a show right out of your zone there. All these old timers.
I love the old timers. I can't wait for WrestleCade. I like going to these crazy old timer shows. But for the love of God, people, quit naming all your promotions the same name. Old School Wrestling Alliance, Old School Wrestling Association, Southern this, Southern that, Honor this. New names. We got to do it. You're making this so confusing for me. I already have issues, folks, keeping up with all this stuff. Can we get different names and maybe register some trademarks or something? So it's all different. But this could be cool. I don't know who Big Steel and Truck 30 are. I know who Barbarian and Haku are. I've sat in the locker room with Barbarian before. He's pretty cool. Zicky's cool. Tommy Rich,
We love some Tommy Rich, right? That's
I know Stunt. He's cool. Curtis is Curtis.
Yeah. So absolutely check them out there in Thomaston, Georgia. LegendsFest 5 presented by Old School Wrestling. The actual show, the bell time is 7 p.m. which will take us into Sunday. Before we actually get to all of the notes, I want to remind you, I had it and I lost it, so great podcasting. I'm bringing it back up because I wanted to make sure that we got to Sunday, Atlanta, Georgia, 579 North Highland Avenue Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, Monk's Meadery. So that's November the 17th. The Blood and Honey series returns to Monk's Meadery. Nathan Mowry will take on John Wayne Murdoch, as Nathan Mowry's mission to bring deathmatch wrestling and get, to grab a piece of the pie for we've talked about it in the past. It's an underserved audience. And it's a great opportunity for him to be the one.
I have to salute anyone who is that passionate about something. The man believes in what he's doing. He is totally wrapped up in this, and he is trying. And honestly, I think he's doing a great job. He's working hard. He's getting out there. He's making contacts. He's got an incredible amount of skill on putting stuff like this together. It's not for me, but there's a lot of things that aren't for me. Classical music, wine, paintings, things like that. Sushi. It doesn't mean they're bad. It's just not for me.
There's a massive plus, by the way, to this show. I know last time some of the feedback that we got, it was a 9 p.m. start. This is a 7 p.m. start.
Better.
So much earlier. Again, this November 17th at Monk's Meadery. Nathan Mowry presents, the Blood and Honey series, the Deathmatch series. Look, we wish him nothing but just because we love the guy. He's a great dude, and we hope that he is successful here in that mission. So check them out this Sunday.
If I can get a ride Sunday, if somebody at the house will take me, I'll go down and watch it. It's just time and space for me.
Yeah. That brings us to the show that I believe that my wife will be dragging. She loves some Sam's. She does. She loves some Hanson.
Who doesn't? Who does?
Right. Who doesn't? So she's suggested if everything works out with her schedule, this Sunday, Kraken Pro Wrestling is running in Tifton. Pay attention closely and give them a follow if you have not on their social media. Kraken Pro Wrestling. They're running the Leroy Rogers Senior Center. They've had some schedule conflicts for their usual venue, so they're shifting a venue and day and time. So it is Sunday, 4 p.m. at the Leroy Rogers Senior Center. It's still in Tifton, so it's not like they're moving towns or anything. Just had to be moved a little bit around because of some stuff going on. Because here's the thing, some stories are going to unfold that are going to be just like, I'm curious to see. The business, things went awry at the last show. Just in Case is coming back from vacation.
Oh.
So are they not seeing eye to eye? Are there some problems there? Can he come back and restore order, to the business, no pun intended, and, get his insurance policies all lined up? Because last show did just not go their way whatsoever. Kevin Cantrell, he continues to tear through the competition. He's just cross-facing guys left and right. My suggestion is, how about you probably don't want to get in the ring with Kevin Cantrell because he's on such a hot streak. That's just my take. Brother Azrael, look, last show he planted Hanson with the wood grain pile driver to pick up a win. But Hanson is promised, as long as he's able to stand on his own 2 feet, he still has a heartbeat. He can still fight. He's getting a win over Brother Azrael, and he's getting his revenge. And look, one thing about old Hanson, there's a lot of fight in that dog, don't you think?
I love that man so much. I named my firstborn child after him. I can't say enough about what he's done down there. Super proud of him. Great guy. He deserves every bit of praise he could possibly get for this. Not only a great wrestling promoter and human being, but a great community person. He's doing so much down there with not just wrestling, but the community, and turning out super duper wrestling product with a bunch of great people. So 4 o'clock start on a Sunday. How brilliant is that too? Get them in, enjoy your show, go home, get to work the next day. Brilliant, brilliant decision. I like that. This was man. I wish I lived within 1,000 miles of this. I would have to go to it all the time.
Yeah, it's a haul, but I think hopefully there is a chance we make that show. But then let's say move it down the road a little bit. GIPW is running in Gray, Georgia. Their bell time is 5 p.m. I love these early start times on Sundays. It's pretty cool. But they're going to be running the Jones County Government Center Gym. They're coming back. They've got the show. It's called It Takes Four to Tango. So we got to find out who are the 4 men who are going to compete for the now vacant title. There was a young man who had to vacate that title. And let's just say more to come about that. We're going to leave it at that for now. More to come for that. But already announced for the card, Michael, the Flying Fro Walker, takes on Eric Silva. Look, he's trying. Look, Eric Silva is looking to continue what as well. The left-hand path has just been a walking path of destruction, and he's looking to, keep that moving. But old Flying Fro, he's another guy that's just got a lot of fight in him, and he's going to stand in what.
He is fun to watch. I get him a suntan. I go get some like at least some of that self tanner, but he is a blast to watch, man, all over the place. I like to see him on a card.
So again, check them out. That is Michael Walker, Eric Silva. Nathaniel Vanderbilt is in a very unique situation here as he's going to take on Jay Lucas. If he gets his last win, he is going to be able to to use his cash in hand championship. But it's kind of the toughest one he's had to face to date when he's facing Jay Lucas. So it's a big opportunity for Jay Lucas kind of to take that, but it's an amazing opportunity for Nathaniel Vanderbilt to take that final step that he needs to take to progress. But we'll see how that unfolds. Dax Anthony, Luke Stone. Luke Stone's returning to GIPW. And hey, it's Dax Anthony. I don't know if you guys have been keeping an eye. He stepped away for a minute, but since he's come back, he's been really hitting his stride between whether it's Coastal, it's here at GIPW, he's in and Southern Violence. He's there. So, but at Coastal, is kind of his team. But I think right here is a huge opportunity for him. And keep your eye on Dax Anthony because he's in phenomenal shape. And I think he looks like that switch has flipped where he is fully motivated and all in. And what's your take on Dax Anthony?
Hey, I've seen him over the years in different places. I am very impressed at this run he's got going now. So I wish best things for him, man. I do. I'm glad to see this happening for him. What I am trying to do is figure out some of the rest of this card so I can be able to man, they are doing good with this. I was just looking at some of these other people on this card too while you were talking about the rest of it. Mm-hmm. That's some good booking, Nick. That's some good booking.
Yeah, look, GIPW, they just got back. They just got back in their rhythm. They just started running again. So kudos to them. GIPW, Gray, Georgia, Jones County Government Center Gym. Bell time is 5 p.m. 2 more big shows to cover before we get out of here. But look, we're still on Sunday. That's right, guys. Still on Sunday. Deep South Wrestling. Big show at the New Rail Brewing Company in Atlanta, Georgia. Their bell time is 4 p.m. It is a free show. So, again, at New Rail Brewing Company, Atlanta, Georgia, bell time 4 o'clock, Deep South Wrestling. Listen to this card, Myron. The Cowboy James Storm. Yeah, that guy. Cowboy James Storm, TNA versus Apollo Prince. Hunter James versus Najicism. Chad Skywalker versus Spiral in a Bosnian and No Remorse match.
Ooh.
Carlina Cruz versus Gemma Jules. Ryan Rembrandt versus CT Entertainment. Look, Deep South has got a lot of momentum. They've had Zilla Fatu show up. They've had Lexus King there taking on Skrilla. And by the way, I don't see Skrilla's name on here. And as far as I'm concerned, Deep South is Skrilla's house. I don't care who's carrying that title. That's Skrilla's house. And by the way, if you don't believe me, ask him. He'll tell you that's still his house. So anytime you see Deep South, I got a very sneaky suspicion, whether he's advertised or not, Skrilla's probably going to be in the house.
Yeah. Is that Carlina Cruz, former NXT talent, Carlina Cruz?
I don't have the poster in front of me. I just have the name.
I Googled her just to make sure, and that's what popped up on my internet.
If I was a betting man, I'd say yes.
Brian Pillman Jr.'s girlfriend. Wow, they're popping a lot of big names down there at Deep South.
Yeah. Deep South is an absolute hit of a show. You do want to check them out. And again, it's a free show there at New Realm Brewery. Hey, sip on some suds, watch a little wrestling, do your thing, and enjoy some of the best talents you're going to see around at Deep South Wrestling. That'll take us to Monday. That's right. Yeah, guys, we're going all the way to Monday because think about it. We just did Thursday, Friday. Oh, it's a long one. But Watkinsville, Georgia, the Monday Nightmare shows return there to South Main Brewing. Bell time is 7 p.m. Pause. Have I told you about this venue?
You've said something briefly with it. Tell me more.
So the it's not. I'm not speaking like of South Main Brewing alone here. The complex or whatever you want to call it, reminds me very much of the one at Sugar Hill. Different, one story, not but like
which sort of the Indio.
The entire complex. Like the brick look, it's got multiple. Like there's an ice cream shop, there's a Mexican restaurant, there's shoe places, there's like it's literally all these different places. It's out. They've got a bunch of outdoor patio furniture that you can chill out or whatever. Now look, the wrestling is back in the back at the South Main Brewing location. But I mean the venue across the board, like the big time scale facility, is a blast. I strongly recommend checking them out especially for a Monday night. Because on a typical Monday night, again, you're going to have the infantry, Jack Jameson, Parker Lee, Jimmy Wild, Michael Solar, Dennis Glass. But here's the thing. I just went a couple weeks ago. I don't know. I saw Brady Booker. I saw Billy Gunn. I mean, on a Monday night. So Monday Nightmare shows, because, look, they're Monday Nightmare shows for a reason. They're highly tied in with the Nightmare Factory. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of the students and a lot of the camp personnel or whatever. But you also see the big names that are attached to it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing when you go to these Monday Nightmare shows and any of these TCW shows, TCW affiliated shows, the people that are taking down the rings are probably going to be the people in the rings on television one day. That's the kind of talent they're getting in there right now. So it's very impressive. I love watching these shows.
And here's the other thing I can almost guarantee you. Bell time is 7 p.m. The odds are by 9 p.m., right around there, give or take a few minutes, the show's wrapped. You're going to get a whole bunch of it. Dude, I was at the last show. It was like 8 matches in like an hour and 58 minutes.
Hey,
absolutely in and out.
They get out of control on a Friday night. I've seen them go to 9:15 on a Friday night. Mm-hmm. It sometimes somebody gets all their shit in. 8 matches. They add another 15 minutes onto a show.
I've never left a Monday Nightmare show saying, man, that just went way too long. That doesn't happen. They always leaving you wanting more. And that's
but how many times do we go to a show and it's like, I'm not criticizing other people's shows.
I am.
Okay, but you can go to a show and you 2 matches in and it's an hour. And those 2 matches have advanced nothing in the storyline. Those 2 matches have not given you anything to establish any of the wrestlers. Those 2 matches have not really given you any good wrestling either. It's not Ospreay and Ricochet or anything like that. It's not the kind of match you really want to see, but everybody got every one of their moves in. Or you can go to a Nightmare show and no, they don't have like storylines in a booking type show, or a TCW show, and you don't have all that, but you get match, heat spot, match, heat, match.
Fun.
Eat
like
dinner, go home.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're not going to have a storyline, that's the way to do it.
And look, they do pepper in every now and then. They've got some stories they run. They just don't overcomplicate it. It's just a fun, like I said, listen, on a Monday night, at a place called South Main Brewing, I want to have fun. I want to chill out and relax, and I want to have a good time. And guess what? That's what you're going to have with the Monday Nightmare Show. Again, Watkinsville, Georgia, bell time 7 p.m. there at South Main Brewing. There's signs, by the way, that'll point you in the direction of where to go. So, but look, man, that's a lot of shows. And if we're going to talk, we're going to get into some more deeper stuff. I've talked to a couple of those promotions. We're going to start bringing some more of the talents on, and all of that stuff will be at tappedoutpod.com, which is our YouTube channel, or at patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Look, I'm still high. I know, we're a YouTube channel, thumbs up. I highly recommend the Patreon. It's to me, hands down, it is my favorite way to consume the product. Or YouTube music. I get a lot of people use that as well. But again, support the show anyway. We greatly appreciate it. Things you want to see, things you want to hear, all of those above, tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Send us those emails, and we're listening. And I do believe next week we're going to have some more contests next week again.
Ooh.
So that's why you want to subscribe. Like I said, you can see that little thing right there on the screen. You want to subscribe, turn those notifications on, so when the new episodes drop, it's going to be an opportunity to win some tickets to tune in next week, and I'll tell you which promotions they're for. So absolutely want to check those out. Anything else, Myron, before we get out of here today? Or
I want people to get out there this weekend. Look at this card of shows we just went through. What are your excuses? All over the state of Georgia. If you go to your state, I don't know if somebody in Arizona breaks down independent wrestling in Arizona like this. But if they do, pay attention and go to those shows. Wherever you're at, there's a ton of good independent wrestling shows that you need to be checking out. Go to Pro Wrestling Tees. Get some of their gear to support your favorite wrestling podcasts, your favorite wrestling indie wrestler guys, their merch. Reach out and show your support for these people. You buy the tickets, you go to the shows, you buy a hot dog or some cheese fries or something to show your support for these people that are out there entertaining you. Savannah just listed a t-shirt for sale.
Yeah, I saw that
yesterday. Like a very rare one. Got me one.
Here's my favorite thing. Go to the show and buy it from them straight. Hand them cash.
Yeah.
Enough said. I'll leave it alone. That's the best way to do it.
Yep.
If you're in Arizona and you want to buy a Sauronaro shirt, I get it. You got to buy it. You got to buy it online, online somewhere, some form or fashion. But if you're in local, buy local at the shows, pay cash. That's my take, and I'll leave it at that. So, anything else, brother?
Nope. I'm happy to be a wrestling fan again today.
All righty. What's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.